Today's video is for the gentleman. So last week I did a great video that was helpful for women to know how to earn the exclusivity of a good man with options. So today is kind of like the male version of that, for men to know how to keep a woman happy. Or like I said before, how to keep a woman from monkey branching, which is kind of an odd term, but it really just means a woman tends to upgrade if she starts to feel like bored or that she can do better. And so you want to make sure that you feel like the woman that you're with and that you want to stay with thinks that you're the best man that she could ever be with. So you have to earn her exclusivity in the same way that she needs to earn yours. But the thing is, women are absolutely more complicated than men. So this list was very simple for the male version, but for the female version, I'm going to have to refer to the list, absolutely, because it's a lot more nuanced and it's a lot more complicated. And the funny thing is that women don't know themselves. It is just an absolute fact. So you as the man getting this insight is really important, because she might say she wants or needs something else. Now, some of them are straightforward, but there are many that she's going to deny. So you have to know her better than she knows herself. But it is appropriate, if you're the leader in the relationship, that you understand that and that you play that role for her. So I could go on a tangent and explain that you being the leader does not mean that she is inferior and you are superior. That's not what I mean by that. But the fact is, you have to embrace that you are that firm guide that is going to help create an even better system, because oftentimes, and not always, but women can be a little less calm. They're a little bit more chaotic and they can flounder a bit. So you have to kind of keep them reeled in. They're the more emotional creatures, right? So we want to make sure that you understand the logic of this, especially, right, if she doesn't. So let's go through the list. So number 1.
By the way, the reason why I came up with this list in the first place is because somebody asked.
Give her the attention, affection, and validation that she needs, but make sure that it's reciprocal to her respect for you. And what I mean by that is by her actions. So yes, all of those things are important. You want to pay attention, you want to give her affection, and you want to validate her. But you don't want to flood her with those things. When you flood her with those things, you're doing too much of them. And if you're rewarding bad behavior by giving her those things when she's not respecting you, this is a really bad thing. So you need to make sure that she is doing the things that she needs to do in order to earn your loyalty and commitment as well. That's how you communicate respect, or how she communicates respect. And in return, and not necessarily in response, but you both have to be doing this sort of in tandem, you want to be giving her that attention, affection, and validation that she needs as well. Number 2 is contrast comfort and connection with the tension and energy, like that sort of vibrant masculine energy, that charm and seductiveness, to keep her on her toes without disrupting the level of trust and security that she feels in the relationship. This is really, really important. It's hard to understand too, but you need it to be in balance, because you cannot sacrifice the trust and the security in the relationship. You both need it, but especially for her, like, she needs you to be kind of that alpha guy that gets her going, seduces her, flirts with her, teases her, all of that sort of stuff. Maybe gives her a little bit of competition anxiety when other women look at you and think you're hot and want to be with you because you're a good man. But you don't want her to feel like she should feel insecure because you might do that or you might leave her. So it's just enough. You're just introducing enough of that tension that it keeps her on her toes. So don't go too far with it. You can't push too much. So be mindful of that. And remember, that's kind of like balancing the alpha side of you and the beta side of you, right? So that beta side is what you need for a long-term relationship. It's that comfort, it's that reliability, consistency, the provider, the protector, the person who she can count on to feel safe and secure. But then you also want to be that alpha who's going to seduce her and entice her and make her feel wanted and sexual. The next one is follow up what you say with what you do. So this is congruent, like this matches up with this. And this is really important. So make sure that you are mindful that what you say you're going to do, you're going to do. You're going to follow through with your words, matching your actions, and making sure that you don't kind of get unreliable and just don't do things, you neglect things, and you become irresponsible in that way. The next one is to be honest, patient, and communicate well, and also sensitively. This is really important because sometimes men think they're expected to share their emotions and talk about feelings, and no, that's not necessary. But what you do need to know is how to communicate your ideas, your thoughts, your goals and aspirations, the things that are on your mind, which might not be feelings, they might be stuff. But you have to communicate, and you also have to just communicate in general, especially if there's problems, so that you can be solution focused with your partner. So make sure that you prioritize that level of communication as much as possible so that you can create that trust and that comfort as well. But make sure that you are doing it in a sensitive way, because being too direct or too harsh for most women can push her away or make her feel insecure as well. So you always want to consider that threshold of insecurity making for a woman, because ultimately women are really neurotic, really insecure creatures, and you don't want to trigger that in her, because that's like a slippery slope, like a Pandora's box of things that are irrational. And when it gets out of hand, it's really hard to sort of pull it back in. So be mindful of that. The next thing is to keep yourself fit, fine, and virile. So I said the same thing on the women's list, and that's because this is really important. You need to be healthy and fit. You need to be attractive. Make sure that you are prioritizing that and not getting complacent about it. You have to keep up your appearances, your grooming, your wardrobe, your fitness, your diet. All those things contribute in so many ways to keeping that spark alive, but also showing that self-mastery. That's basically just taking care of yourself. If you can't take care of yourself, then you're not going to be able to take care of another person, let alone a whole family and kids, right? But the virility is really about that testosterone and that seductiveness. You want to have that prowess and that power, that appetite for her. She needs to know she's desired. So make sure that doesn't fall by the wayside. The next one is to be decisive, to be driven, confident, and to prioritize your core principles. So those are about your mission. You need to make sure that you are still your priority and that you do not get sidetracked from that mission. It is absolutely essential that you have a cause for her to believe in just as much as you believe in it. So knowing that there's that directionality to your relationship, there is a purpose to it. Also, your children are your purpose, but in general, you have to have like that creed, that family crest and motto that you stand for, that she can be a part of. It's really important to make sure that that is something that's clear to you and that you communicate that to her as well. The next one is assist her efforts in trying to get things done for the home and family. Now, this one she's absolutely going to admit. She's going to talk about this all the time, but maybe in a way that comes off a little bit like nagging or annoying. So remember that it is important. Now, even if she's going to be taking predominantly the more primary role of domesticity, she's going to be taking care of the household and the chores and the childcare, but you have to play a supportive role in that. And that goes both ways. So whatever your primary role is, she should be taking a secondary role. And so should you in the reverse, because you're a team. You absolutely are a team, and you have to make sure that whatever problems there are, you're going to solve them together. But you have to be solution oriented and not get focused on, who and when and what and how and why. Like, you just need to get it done. So ultimately, if the shit hits the fan, if things are stressed, and she can't do everything because you're not Superman and she's not Wonder Woman, sometimes things just fall off and it's difficult to get done. You have to step up, you have to take the initiative, and you have to just be responsible and manage, right? Nothing should be above either of you to do yourselves, and you should be capable and feel comfortable and secure that your significant other is going to be able to manage in the case that you can't show up one day or for whatever reason, right? So that is important as well. The next one is support her in expressing herself in healthy ways that don't threaten the relationship. So this is really important as well because women, when they feel like they don't have a voice, they start to carry on and act out like a little bit of a teenager and rebel. So you have to make sure that you want that as well. She should want that. And maybe she doesn't know how to find it or what that is, or maybe she does and she just feels like it's repressed. It's important for the two of you should prioritize that, right? But you need to make sure that it's not in competition with anything else that's going on for the family. So whatever it is that she finds that's right for her based on her skills or her interests or her talents, her capacities, that it's going to be something that fits in well and harmonizes with you as a team. So definitely something for you to think about and maybe talk about together. The next one is prioritizing family time. Now, that one's probably a little bit more obvious, but it's so important for you to prioritize the mission and your work and providing and all that. But if you're not prioritizing family time outside of that as well, then it's absolutely going to cause her to feel resentment, and she's going to look for another way for her to get that her own needs met in regards to having that quality time together. So you have to have that quality time with her. You have to have the quality time as a family. And she needs to know that you're a family man. So the next one after that is listen to her as best you can, advising as needed. So that means don't always jump in to fix things, but learn how to listen. And that also means like kind of learning how to fake like you're listening sometimes. Because as long as you're trying, that's okay. We both, men and women, do that as well. So making sure that you're just not rushing to sort of get to the punchline all the time to try to fix things, but you're there for her to listen and to hear her out because she needs that outlet. She needs to vent. And trust me, you want to be the person that she goes to when she has stuff that she wants to vent. To be that outlet is so important because whether she feels like you're not there and so she goes to someone else, like if it's a man, yeah, that's bad. But if it's a woman still, like you don't want her to go to a girlfriend and tell all these things to, and you don't know anything about them. So it causes like a distance between you because you're not involved in what she's dealing with. And also it might be about the relationship. And then all these other people might have to start learning about stuff that's otherwise should be kept private because you're not giving her the time for her to vent to, right? So you see how that's important. So definitely make sure that you're there for her to be that outlet and listen. Even if you have to kind of reel her in and be like, okay, I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Let's get to the point or whatever, right? You can kind of be that frame for her there as well, but make sure that you're not dismissing her in that way. Be firm in your leadership convictions and expectations of her and your family. Now, this goes to your mission, right? Having that ability to have a purpose as a team and as a family, as a household. It's important to have that vision and to provide that directionality for you. You're basically giving her something to believe in and fight for as well. So if you don't have that and you're the leader, then she might step in and play that role. And that's not going to bode well for you as a couple, right? Because then the power difference sort of gets skewed. And again, it's not about her being inferior and you being superior, but it's about you being able to carry the family through in the worst case scenario. You both are equally important to the system and you both absolutely play a vital role, but ultimately, if you're a democracy, then it's going to be a lot of power struggling between the two of you when stress happens. And that is usually a bad sign, and it usually ends up deteriorating the relationship and the sexual bond as well. So you want to make sure that you have that vision and that she's like the ride or die, the right-hand woman, and the two of you are an exceptional team together. But you're going down if the team goes down. You're going to be the one that's the sword and the shield and protecting and fighting for ultimately by your life. So that honor and duty comes with that price. One of the other things is to be steadfast, faithful, and honor your duty to your family, which is really an extension of the last one. So remembering that ultimately this is a duty, yes, it's a responsibility, but she also has her responsibilities. So it's not about one-upping each other or tit-for-tatting each other. You both have your various roles, and again, you're a team, and one person's primary role is the other person's secondary role, and these can fluctuate depending on your personalities and your particular circumstances. But ultimately, if you don't feel that level of responsibility to lead yourself and your family and your relationship in that way, then she's not going to respect you as much. She's going to look to somebody else that she can respect who has more power and authority and kind of plays that alpha role, right? So you need to also balance that out with the beta role. So I know it sounds like a little bit contrasting, but it's something that needs to happen in a balanced way so that you feel like you are her comfort, her rock, her steady, reliable safety net. But at the same time, you're going to be that man who she can get her thrills from and keep her interests in life vibrant, right? So it is a very comprehensive set of principles because women are complex and more complex than men, but it's going to serve the two of you really, really well if you consider these. And feel free to go ahead and look in the comments or the notes section of this video so that you can take notes yourself and go through them and process them and see how you're doing on them. But if you did like this video, please go ahead and click the subscribe button below. And if you do want to talk further about this, I happen to offer a free 15-minute discovery call that could be convenient to you. So go ahead and reach out. My website is below, so you can fill out the request form there and we can chat about it. But thank you for watching. Ciao.